First session வந்து it is relating to context, background and legal environment. Not only relating to trust, relating to client also. ஸோ நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு ஆடிட் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி லீகலாக என்ன இருக்கோ அதே மாதிரி கிளைண்ட் சைடில் என்ன இருக்குது அப்படிங்கிறதையும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் செஷன் வில் பி தி half an hour relating to context, background and legal environment. The second session will be audit and filing of forms. There are two forms, one is 10B and another one is 10BB. இது ரெண்டுக்கும் என்ன வித்தியாசங்கிறதோ சார் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுவாங்க. அண்ட் இஃப் 10Bக்கு பதிலாக 10BB ஃபைல் பண்ணிட்டோம், இல்லை 10BBக்கு பதிலாக 10B ஃபைல் பண்ணிட்டோம்னா அதுக்கு என்ன ஆல்டர்னேட் ரெமெடிஸ் இருக்குங்கிறதும் சார் கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுவோம். தேங்க்யூ.
Respected JK ma'am and the managing committee members of the Madurai branch, CA Karigalan and the team from Trichy branch, CA Vasantakumar, chairman and team from Thoothukudi branch, CA Fatima and team from Tirunelveli branch, CA Karthik and team from Sivagasi branch, past chairman, so many of you from not only Madurai branch but also the other various 4 branches, my beloved DC and PVR. I'm always so proud of them for so long time for being pillars for the Madurai branch and bringing all of us together with all their best efforts like this morning. And senior members, my own elder brothers, younger brothers and sisters, I'm not sure whether any of us have felt so bad about trust issues this morning, because as we have come together, I don't have a feeling that we are having so many issues in trust, because first of all I witnessed so much of celebration, so much of enthusiasm, so much of collaboration, so much of coming together. Sangamam அப்படினு சொல்லுவாங்க. Sangamam is rivers coming together அப்படினு சொல்லுவாங்க. இங்க பார்த்தா rivers இல்ல, oceans are coming together. இப்போ சவுத் ஆஃப் தமிழ்நாடு எடுத்தா நம்ம என்ன சொல்லலாம்? பே ஆஃப் பெங்கால், அரேபியன் சி, மீட்டிங் சங்கமம் இன் இந்தியன் ஓஷன் பாங்க. 3 தான், பட் இங்கே 5. மதுரை, திருச்சி, தூத்துக்குடி, திருநெல்வேலி, சிவகாசி. ஐ எம் ஸோ ப்ரவுட். பிவிஆர் சொன்னாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன், 3 sections have brought us together here. I was inspired immediately to say 3 sectors are at work in this society around the world. 3 sectors. The government sector, we are all familiar. The corporate sector, we are all familiar. The social sector, we are not just familiar, we are deeply involved. We are seriously helping them, and we are touched by what's happening in the social sector. I know that just a section in any act cannot bring such great minds together. It is something more. And what is that something more? The country today, in our country, is a great country. It's a great nation, no question. But the prosperity is islands and the poverty is ocean. In this great country today, among the billion plus people, there are millions who do not have 3 meals to eat. There are millions who do not have the basic amenities, a roof above them. And there are also millions who are in the edges of the society. சமூகத்தின் விளிம்பில் இருக்கிறார்கள் என்று சொன்னால் அது மிகையாகாது. Now, these great minds involved in these areas of work have come together not to mourn, not to worry, but to celebrate and make merry. I would like to say, I know when some of our colleagues expressed, நான் கேஸே பார்க்கறதில்ல, நான் ஆர்டிகிள்ஸாக இருக்கிறப்ப தான் பார்த்தேன், அதுக்கடுத்து நான் பார்க்கறதே இல்லை அப்படி சொல்லும்போது அதில் ஒரு அருமையான ஒரு ஆஸ்பிரேஷன் இருக்குது, ஒரு ஆசை இருக்குது. என்ன தெரியுமா? நான் பார்க்கணும், நானும் பார்க்கணும். ஆமா, கட்டாயம். உங்களுக்கு இப்போ போற போக்க பார்த்தா அசைன்மெண்ட் இல்லை, அசைன்மெண்ட் ஆஃப்டர் அசைன்மெண்ட் வரும். அசைன்மெண்ட் ஆஃப்டர் அசைன்மெண்ட். ஏன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, ஆல்ரெடி கேள்விப்பட்டது மாதிரி முன்னால அந்த ஃபார்ம் 10B ITR 7 பேச போகிறோம் இல்லையா, ஃபார்ம் 10Bயை ஃபில்அப் பண்ணுறதுக்கு 2 நிமிஷம் போகுது. ஃபில்அப் பண்ணாதையும் கூட பண்ணலாம். நானும் பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். ITR 7ல் ரொம்ப ஃபில் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே போவோம். என்ன ஃபில் பண்ணுவேன்? நில். அதையும் ஃபைல் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். அதுக்கு அசஸ்மெண்ட் போட்டு எக்ஸம்ஷன் போயிருக்கு, அருமையாக போயிருக்கு. ஆனால் இப்போ போகிற போக்க பார்த்தா ஃபார்ம் 10Bக்கு எப்படி நம்ம 2 நிமிஷம் எடுத்தோமோ இப்போ 2 வாரம் போகுதுல, சில கேஸுக்கு 2 மாதம் போகல. தட் இஸ் வாட் இஸ் கோயிங் ஆன். அப்போ எப்படி அசைன்மெண்ட் இல்லாத இருக்கும் பிவிஆர்? எல்லாருக்கும் அசைன்மெண்ட் இருக்கும். எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து செஞ்சால் கூட போதாது. ஏன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா எத்தனை NPOs இருக்குது இந்த கண்ட்ரியில், இன் திஸ் கிரேட் கண்ட்ரின்னு யாராச்சும் தெரியுமா? தெரியவே தெரியாது. ஒரு அட்டெம்ப்ட் பண்ணாங்க, என்னது, புதுசாக எல்லாத்தையும் 12A வாங்க வைக்கலாம், அதனால எல்லாருமே கண்டுபிடிச்சிடலாம் எத்தனை NPOs இந்த கண்ட்ரின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. எல்லாருமே அப்ளை பண்ணாங்களா? பண்ணல. நம்ம நினைக்கலாம், ஓ சில பேருக்கு தெரியாத போச்சான்னு சொல்லிட்டு. தெரிஞ்சே பண்ணல. ஏன் பண்ணலன்னு கேட்டால், தயவு செய்து டேக்ஸ் எவ்வளோன்னு சொல்லுங்க சார், அதை கட்டிடலாம் சார். நீங்கள் கேட்குற கேள்விக்கு இத்தனை கேள்வி கேட்குறீங்களே, இத்தனை கேள்வி கேட்டு நான் சர்வைவர் ஆகிற மாதிரியே தெரியல. That is what is going on right now. But I truly admire. I know for sure no fees can bring us together. முன்னால் சொல்லுவாங்க, ஃபீஸ்னால் உடனே நம்ம ஸ்மைல் பண்ணுவோம் அப்படின்னு எல்லாம் சொல்லி. நம்ம அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்மைல் பண்ணுற ஆளே கிடையாது. No work can bring us together. No assignment can bring us together. But our hearts have come together. Our hearts have come together because just take only the south of Tamil Nadu. The country is great. The country has such a great, glorious past. But just take that past, the south of Tamil Nadu. In the south of Tamil Nadu, may I go to the next one? Just take the second one, the religious and charitable institutions in South India. Take religious. We have the உலகத்திலேயே பிரசித்தி பெற்ற கோயில் இங்கே தான் இருக்குது, இதே இடத்துல தான் இருக்குது, இந்த சிட்டியில் இருக்குது. உலகத்திலேயே பிரசித்தி பெற்ற மருத்துவமனையும் இங்கே தான் இருக்குது, இந்த சிட்டியில் இருக்குது. உலகத்திலேயே பிரசித்தி பெற்ற கல்வி நிறுவனங்களும் இங்கே தான் இருக்குது. நம்ம ஒவ்வொரு பிரான்ச்சை எடுத்தால் சொல்லிக்கிட்டே போகலாம். பட் ஐ cannot afford to take time. திருச்சி எடுத்தால் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? கேபிட்டல் ஆஃப் எஜுகேஷன் வாங்க இல்லையா? அப்படியே சொல்லிக்கிட்டு போகலாம். தூத்துக்குடிக்கு சொல்லலாம், திருநெல்வேலிக்கு சொல்லலாம், சிவகாசிக்கு சொல்லலாம், நம்ம எல்லா பிரான்ச்சுக்கும் சொல்லிக்கிட்டே போகலாம். So many institutions, religious institutions, not only the big temples or the age-old churches or the mosques, but also ஒவ்வொரு வீதிக்கு போங்க. 10 மணி நைட்டுக்கு போங்க. நைட்டு நான் பார்த்தேன், 10:30 மணிக்கு நான் பார்த்தேன். அங்கே அந்த பீப்புள் ஸோ ரிலிஜியஸ். மதுரையில் அவ்வளவு டெய்லி மழை வராது, இப்போ டெய்லி மழை வருது. அதான் அது நான் நினைக்கிறேன், இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சங்கமம் நடக்க போகுது. அதனால ஈவன் ஹெவன்ஸ் ஆர் ப்ளீஸ்டு. ஸோ நல்ல மழை, ஆனால் மழையில் நனைஞ்சுக்கிட்டு தே ஆர் வர்ஷிப்பிங். with a nice singing. And so, மழை அல்லது வெயிலுக்கு நமக்கு இங்கே என்ன பஞ்சமா? வெயில் எதா இருந்தாலும் பார்க்கறது இல்லை. Our people are so religious. So the religious institutions, people from all over the country come here to the south of Tamil Nadu. I don't have to mention names. All over the country, the leaders come here. And similarly, educational institutions, so many of them, for so many, not decades, but centuries, they are here. And also the hospitals and also the social welfare bodies, they are all here in the south of Tamil Nadu. In these institutions, the role of us here is unimaginable. Not just auditing, not just filing returns, not just trying to get a tax exemption. No. Some of you are involved as in the governance. I know quite a few of you that I have the privilege to relate, who are the presidents or the chairpersons of that entity, whether it's a temple or it's a social welfare body or it's an educational institution. I also know others who are directly handling as a treasurer, honorary, but risky today. எதுக்கு ஷோகாஸ் நோட்டீஸ் வரும், எந்த போர்ட்டலில் வரும்னு கூட தெரியாது. ஆனால் ஹானரியில் நம்ம அப்படியே ஹாப்பியாக உட்காந்துட்டு இருக்கிறோம். பாருங்க, இப்போ எடுக்க வேணாம், இப்போ எடுத்தீங்கன்னா ஏதாவது 2-3 ஷோகாஸ் நோட்டீஸ் இருக்கும். எதுலன்னு தெரியாது. ஒரு போர்ட்டலில் மட்டும் ஒரு ஷோகாஸ் இல்லை, 2-3 ஷோகாஸ் இருக்கு. ஒன்று போர்ட்டல் இருக்கு, அங்கே போர்ட்டல் இருந்து இன்னொரு கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா ஏஏஎஸ் போகும், அங்கிருந்து கொஞ்சம் கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா கம்ப்ளைன்ஸ் போகும், அங்கிருந்து கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா இ ப்ரொசீடிங்ஸ்னு போகும். ஒவ்வொரு இடத்துலையும் ஒரு எஸ்சிஎன். But you are doing that so happily, and also auditing, and also filing returns. Just imagine, in these great religious institutions and also the charitable and educational institutions, if our role is missing, what will be their finances? What will be their accounting? What will be their auditing? What will be their compliance? Let it be compliance on income tax, let it be compliance on GST, and now compliance after compliance, integrated compliance. கேள்விப்பட்டீங்களா சமீபத்தில்? ஸ்ராமி சுபிதா, integrated compliance for social security, labor laws. நமக்கு TAN இருக்குது, PAN இருக்குது, DIN இருக்குது. இப்போ வந்துட்டு லின்னு, இன்னைக்கு லின்னு, நாளைக்கு சின்னு. Tomorrow, LIN, labor related. LIN, I'm sure you already know that 16 laws are put together, not for helping, but for inspection and investigation and reporting. So these are also applicable for all these non-profit bodies. So the role of us in these bodies is unimaginable. And that is what has brought us together. And I am so proud. I have the honor and privilege of relating with several of you for the last 4.5 decades. And I also have the honor of listening to you. Various issues that you have. In fact, 3 of us today, I am surrounded by lot of past chairmen, but very closely surrounded by 2 past chairmen. That is Dani as a co-speaker and again Sudhakaran C as a co-speaker. 2 chairmen I have, so I have no worries today. I have no worries today. And if 3 of us have problem, you are all there. I know several of you can be the resource persons because you are deeply feeling it every day. You are trying to, overcome the struggles. And therefore, my feeling is that given the great challenges happening in these bodies, and given the need for these bodies for support, I believe in the next session that we have, all those who said, நான் எடுக்கவே மாட்டேன் அப்படிங்கிறவங்கெல்லாம் அடுத்து சொல்லும்போது நான் எடுத்தேன், அருமையா நான் முடிச்சேன். ஆர்கனைசேஷனை முடிக்கல, இல்ல ஃபினிஷ்டுன்னா யாரு ஃபினிஷ்டுன்னு வேணுமில்ல இல்லையா? அதை தான் நீங்கள் கிளியராக சொல்லிட்டீங்களே. நோ யார் நோ டெத் டு தி ஆர்கனைசேஷன் இல்லை. So, I am very confident. I believe sincerely. I have great conviction that those who have not touched, you will not only touch it, you will touch the lives of the organizations and the people behind that organization. At this time, I have a humble request. when you are going to ask queries, just mention just one word. Is it a religious institution? No need name. No need name. Is it a hospital? Is it a old age home? Is it a college or a school, whatever? Just mention that, then you ask. Because immediately, not just the section or the subsection or the subclass that will come to the mind, it will come the hundreds and thousands and the lakhs of people behind that organization who are helped in educational, health or social welfare or religious needs of these entities. So this is my humble request. If possible, you may consider when you are asking the question, and also no need to mention the name of the institution, just the type. Okay. Now going to the current context and the background and the recent development and issues, challenges, concerns and cautions for the NPOs, the entire day is focused on these two aspects. That is, what's the context in which we are talking? We are not in the context of 20 years back or 30 years back when we had something called, you can see later, see this kind of a scenario. I think senior members, my elder brothers will remember, 1022, we used to go for assessment. Not only to the city where we are, we used to go to some other places. For example, I remember going to Bellary in Karnataka or Dharwar, Hubli Dharwar in Karnataka, and reaching there only at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the evening, and the officer will say, Kandasami, you come for 1022 or 22A? Sir, today 1022, sir. Thank you, thank you. I kept coffee for you. I expected you 4 o'clock, but good you reached 5 o'clock. I'll finish the assessment. Over. 1022 had nothing to ask other than, are you an educational institution? If it is 1022A, nothing to ask other than, are you a medical institution? I'm sure you remember the glorious past. And then we went on to 1023C. 1023C. You know, these two regimes, like regime 1 and regime 2. I'm very happy. I'm sure you will have a little more detail from my colleagues that one regime has gone to sunset. I just wish the other regime also will go for sunset. And all the entities will be given total exemption again, back again. No, I don't think that's going to be the reality. So in the 1023, see, these are the sections that are making waves today. The 215 getting amended day after day, and 224, 1023C, now it is getting sunset. 11 and 12 is going to rule the non-profit institutions from now. 11 and 12, better, because they showed two routes, and one route was such a easy route, that was like a highway, and you can just drive fast, no issues. That was the total exemption route, and that became equally complex as of this, up to this budget. Equally complex. There was no big difference between the two. Fortunately, one regime has gone. So, just remove it from our minds. Of course, you cannot do it today. You will have to wait for that period to end. That 5 year we have got that regime, no, that has to end. But from October, as you know, they won't give that approval. It will be only the second regime, that is 11, 12 and 13, etc. So, which is something good, something less complicated, if not simple. Then after that you have 12 goes on changing 12A, AA, now AA has disappeared, now AB has come and restrictions are there, and then of course the donor rebate is there. So, this is going to be, this section I am not going to discuss because we are going to basics. But this section is going to rule from now onwards. It's no more the 1023C. This is the section that is going to rule. And the historical development of this, you can see 12 to 12A, the requirement was mandatory from 73 only, and AA became mandatory from AA added on from 1497. It was up there up until 31st March 21. I mean, those of us who are dealing, this is just a basic LKG, but for those of us who say, I have not done it, start it again, because this is also restart. This is also restart. So you can start it again. And then 12AB, procedure for fresh registration. We have issues in the fresh registration, as some of you are already feeling. You have also brought up some questions. We will discuss them in the afternoon. And there are other issues which, just for information, like after registration, there are reasons for modification. And for modification now, we still have to go to the CIT, and the registration itself, the renewed registration 10 AC says any amendment you have to come back to the CIT again, and accounts, audit, submission of audit report, filing of the returns, they have become most complex as of today. Application was so simple. Those days, the commissioner used to ask me before, as I enter, 85%, you know, and if I say, sir, more than 85%, thank you, no issue. Less than 85%, then accumulation, 1 year. Those days, no forms, nothing. For example, 9A came recently, not those days, so only a letter, and the letter can be given any time, you know. Return also can be filed any time. There used to be one famous Form 6, applying for adjournment. I don't know how many thousands I would have applied in the 70s and 80s. Form 6 மாதிரி வேற எந்த ஃபார்மே ஃபைல் பண்ண ஞாபகமே இல்லை இது வரைக்கும். இப்போ ஃபார்ம் 6ன்னு இருக்குமா? ஃபார்ம் 6ங்கிற வார்த்தையே கிடையாது. 12 o'clock midnight, 11:58, somebody is uploading. This is not a story I am making. After all the struggles, no, 2-3 லேப்டாப்பை வச்சுக்கிட்டு 12:58க்கு வந்துட்டு அப்லோட் பண்ணுனா அது கரெக்டாக 12:01க்கு தான் போகுது. 12:01க்கு போனதே என்ன ஆகுது? அதோட போச்சு. அது ஒன்றும் அதுக்கு மேலே சொல்ல வேண்டியதே இருக்காது. ஏன்னா டேக்ஸ் டிமாண்ட் வில் பி 70 crore, 110 crore. நவடேஸ் வந்துட்டு இது ஒன்றும் இந்த லேக்ஸ் தௌசண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் கிடையாது. அது கம்ப்யூட்டரில் எடுக்கிறது இல்லை இல்லையா? அது மட்டும் இல்லை, நான் சொல்றது எதுவுமே வந்துட்டு நான் வந்துட்டு கதைக்காக சொல்லவே கிடையாது. அசஸ்மெண்ட்ல என்ன முன்னால் அருமையா இருக்குது. நாங்கள் நோட்டீஸ் கொடுத்தோம், எல்லாத்துக்கும் பதில் கொடுத்தீங்க, அதுக்கே ஒரு பெரிய டேபிள், யூ ஹவ் சீன் திஸ் அசஸ்மெண்ட்ஸ் இல்லையா, ஃபேஸ்லெஸ்ல. அப்புறம் கடைசியில் அதுக்கெல்லாம் கடைசியில் நில். ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். மறுபடியும் திருப்பினீங்கன்னா கம்ப்யூட்டேஷன் போனது. நான் எக்ஸாக்ட் கொடுக்குற ஃபிகர் தப்பில்லை, இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன் மட்டும் சொல்லல. நில் 1242 கோடி டேக்ஸ். இதை பார்த்த அந்த ட்ரெஷரர் ஹார்ட் ஆல்ரெடி வீக் அவருக்கு. இதை பார்த்துட்டா அவருக்கு என்ன ஆகு சொல்லுங்க? நல்ல வேலை பார்க்கறது இல்லை. இதெல்லாம் கடவுள் காப்பி தரார். என்ன நல்ல காரியம் செய்யறதுனால காட் இஸ் குட், டேக்கிங் கேர். அண்ட் ஆஃப்டர் தட் யூ கோ டு த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட். சார் நாங்கள் ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியல சார். அப்போ வேற யார் பண்ணா? நீங்கள் பண்ணலினா? லைவ் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் நான் சொல்கிறேன், நீங்கள் கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க. யார் சார் பண்ணனா? சிபிசி. யூ சி தேட். அங்கே என்னது பார்க்க முடியும்? அங்கே போய் ரெக்டிஃபிகேஷன் போட்டால் டினைடு. அப்லோடு பண்ண ரெக்டிஃபிகேஷன் அப்ளிகேஷனை ரிப்ளை டினைடு. கோ டு தி ஜேஏஓ. இப்போல்லாம் ஜேஏஓ ஜூரிஸ்டிக்ஷனல். ஆமாம், எஃப்ஏஓ இவர் ஃப்ளையிங் ஃபேஸ்லெஸ் அசஸ்மெண்ட் ஆஃபீஸர். ஃபேஸ்லெஸ்ங்கிறது எவ்வளோ தூரம் கரெக்ட் நீங்களே சொல்லுங்கள். நம்ம ஃபேஸ் எல்லாம் தெரியணுமா? அதானே உண்மை இல்லையா? ஸோ இந்த சுச்சுவேஷனில் ரெக்டிஃபிகேஷன் போட போகிறோம். எங்கே போடுறதுன்னு தெரியல. அங்கே போட்டால் டினைடு, இங்கே போட்டால் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க? சார் நான் ஓப்பன் பண்ணி காட்டுறேன் பாருங்கள் சார், எங்களுக்கு இன்னும் ஆக்சஸே இல்லை சார், சிபிசியில் தான் சார் நீங்கள் பண்ணணும். சார் பண்ணி ஆச்சு, இது பாருங்கள் ரிப்ளை வந்தாச்சு. அப்போ வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. சரி வெயிட் பண்ணுறோம். உடனே எங்கிருந்து கால் வருது? டிஆர்ஓட்டிருந்து. சார் டேக்ஸ் டிமாண்ட் இருக்குது. லைவ் நான் வர நடந்ததை சொல்கிறேன். அப்புறம் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க? சார் இது டோசியர் கேஸு. டோசியர்னா என்ன? டோசியர் சார் போர்டு கேஸு. போர்டுக்கு எனக்கு சம்மதானம் எங்கேயுமே போகலையே, நான் அப்ளிகேஷனே போடலையே. இல்லை சார் நாங்கள் போட்டோம் சார். நீங்கள் ஏன் போட்டீங்கன்னா லிமிட்டுக்கு மேலே வந்துட்டு சார். இந்த லிமிட்டுக்கு மேலே போட்டது யார்? நீங்கள் தான். நாங்களா போட்டோம்? நீங்கள் நில்லு இந்த பக்கம் போட்டுட்டு அந்த பக்கம் போய் லிமிட்டுக்கு மேலே போட்டுக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? இதுதான் வந்துட்டு இப்போ இருக்கிற கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் போயிட்டு இருக்கிறது இப்போ. ஸோ இந்த சுச்சுவேஷனில் பாருங்கள் அக்குமுலேஷன். இப்போ அக்குமுலேஷனில் அனதர் கான்ட்ரவர்சி. என்ன கான்ட்ரவர்சி? போன வருஷம் என்ன சொன்னாங்க? ஆகஸ்ட்லேயே நீங்கள் அக்குமுலேட் பண்ணிடுங்க. அக்கௌண்டே ரெடி இல்லை, அப்புறம் எங்கே போய் அக்கௌண்ட் பண்ணுறது? இல்லையா? நம்ம போயிட்டு ஆடிட்டுக்குன்னு கேட்டோம்னா ஒரு விஷயத்தில் கிளையண்ட் ரொம்ப கிளியராக இருக்காங்க, லாஸ்ட் டேட் எப்போ. நம்மளை கேட்க மாட்டாங்க, அது மற்றவங்களை கேட்டுக்குவாங்க. கரெக்டா இல்லையா? சார் ஏன் சார் இவ்வளவு அவசரப்படுறீங்க? இவ்வளவு ஏன்னா கடைசியில் போய் 11:58 இவங்களை எடுத்து அப்படியே அப்லோட் பண்ணால் ஸ்பெஷலாக ரிசீவ் அப்லோட் ஆகிற மாதிரி பேசிக்கிறாங்க. நம்ம எவ்வளோ கஷ்டப்பட்டு ப்ரொவிஷன்ஸு செக்ஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் நம்ம கற்றுக்கிட்டாலும் கிளையண்ட்ஸ் நம்மளை வந்து கற்றுக்கிறது, நம்ம கிளையண்ட்ஸை புரிஞ்சுக்கிறது, கிளையண்ட்ஸ் நம்மளை புரிஞ்சுக்கிறது இப்போ ஒரு பெரிய விஷயமா இருக்கு. ஐ ஹோப் தட் இஸ் தி கரண்ட் சிச்சுவேஷன். ஸோ இன் திஸ் கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் we are meeting here and there are so many issues. I am not going to each individual item, but only to say these are the key ones today, particularly those who want to take up. Those who are taking up, this is again basics. But those who want to take up, don't worry. You have taken up so many things. This is nothing great. And what you are going to take up is for the millions of people who are in the edges of the society, the ocean of poverty, and those people's lives you will be touching. You will not be simply touching the ITR 7 and the Form 10B, but you will be touching the lives of those people. And I can see those people, and you can see those people. They are the differently abled, they are the children who have no home, they are the street children, and they are the sick people, they are the aged. So many millions are there. If you take disability alone, 22 disabilities are there in this country today, and 2.27% of the billions are in the disability category, and the organizations are supporting them today, these organizations. Why only this? What about disasters? Think of 30 seconds what was unfolding in Wayanad. Can you bear that sight? Think of the other disasters, the tsunami, when we saw bodies and bodies, not non-profit bodies, human bodies. Think of the earthquakes in this country, whether it is in Gujarat or whether it is in Maharashtra or wherever it is. Who went to help them first? It is these bodies who went to help them. But these bodies are today facing disaster. The hospitals who are treating the patients in the ICU, now the hospitals are in ICU. The hospital finances are in ICU. Hospital taxes are in ITU. Hospital GST is in the ICU. And the educational institutions who taught us, we are here today what we are because of these institutions. But these institutions need to be educated by us. Who can educate them than us? It's only we can educate them. And we are trying our best to do them. It's not easy, it's challenging. ஏன்னா நம்ம வந்து படித்த இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷனுக்கு நம்ம ஃபைல் பண்ண பார்த்தோம்னா சொல்கிறாங்க, சார் இங்கே தான் சார் படிச்சீங்க, ஏன் சார் இவ்வளவு படுத்துறீங்க? இங்கே படித்ததுனால தான் நான் கொஞ்சம் படுத்த பார்க்குறேன்னா, ஏன் சார் படுத்துறீங்க? கொஞ்சம் எப்படி சார் வரி விலக்கு எப்படி கொஞ்சம் பிரச்சனை இல்லாத எப்படி வாங்குறதுன்னு பாருங்கள் சார். பிரச்சனை இல்லாத எப்படி வாங்குறது வரி விலக்கு? வரி விலக்கே பிரச்சனை. ஸோ இன் திஸ் scenario we are going further, and I would like to conclude now by saying issues, challenges, concerns and cautions for NPOs. I would like to humbly say we will be very crisp in the presentations, very short in the presentations, make maximum time available for the issues and the discussions. And as DC has cautioned us, no trust issues, but issues on the trust. And we are very grateful to you for trusting these resource persons for the trust. And I know there are many other resource persons, and we can discuss together. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you have ways to solve anything, feel free to share, because it's not just the three of us. Several of you are also resourceful, and you can be resource persons. Complaints matters under the income tax and FCRA only we are going to touch. See, these are the types of bodies. I'm not going to take your time, but if you just click types of NPOs, you will come across so many of them: educational, health, religious, social, technical, disaster, etc. All of these bodies we are involved. And the CA's role is not just in auditing. CA's role, we are in their budgeting process, we are in their accounting system, we are helping them for their reports and monitoring, we are helping them for their legal compliance, and we are also in the governance of these organizations, and audit and financial policies, social security scheme, investments, every aspect we are helping them. That is the great privilege we have to associate and support these organizations. These laws, just to have a glimpse, incorporation laws, other laws, rules and regulations, social security laws, and incorporation laws alone, there are so many of them. Sometimes you do not know which under which law this body is incorporated. I have 2-3 bodies which are AD 53, not 1953. I used to mistake, oh, 19 uttu poirukku maatirukku. AD 53 and AD 101. You know, there are bodies, no law was there at that time. All these laws came recently in the last 30 years, 40 years, 100 years. First Income Tax Act is 1860. First Income Tax in India, not 1922. That was a codified law, but the first one is 1860. Even in that 1860, there was a provision for charity. But that way, Indians have been charitable from time immemorial, from the time of the Rig Veda and up to now. No law, income tax or FCRA or GST can stop the Indians being charitable. Can any law stop us being charitable? No way. And therefore you don't have to worry that the income tax is going to stop them or the FCRA is going to stop them. No way anybody, any law is going to stop them. And CSR, it came only recently as a mandatory. But Indians needed a mandatory law for charity? Never needed a mandatory law for charity, because thousands of years Indians have been charitable. So, in this whole legal environment, only 2 laws we are touching today. You will kindly understand. But in case you want to bring another question which is from another law, which is affecting these 2 laws, you are most welcome. You know something? The previous IT Act 12AA3, 12AA4 and the current amended law 12AB4 clearly says any violation in any other law will also affect the 12A registration. Am I right? Now anyone knows which is any other law? God alone knows which is any other law. You know, so many laws. The other day I was looking in a medical body. I just asked them, how many laws applicable? Sir, அது ஒரு 157 சார். 157 சொன்னதே I became very happy. ஏன்னா நம்ம டீல் பண்றது ஒரு 4-5 law தான். மீதி எல்லாம் medical laws. But the question here is, if any non-compliance in any other law, it is going to be a reason for cancellation, as you know. So we need to be very careful when we are supporting these non-profits. Which other law they are subjected to, and whether there is any violation. For example, in the educational bodies, if the building is not having a sanctioned plan, it is a violation. And that building is a key factor for running the educational institution, and that is going to be a problem. And can we ever ask educational bodies that, you know, how many எந்தெந்த பில்டிங்க்கு நீங்கள் சாங்ஷன் வாங்கியிருக்காங்கன்னு? சார் அடுத்த வருஷம் பார்த்துக்கலாம் சார், அதை அடுத்த வருஷம் வேறு ஆடிட்டரை போட்டுக்குவாங்க. அதுக்கு தான் அடுத்த வருஷம் பார்த்துக்கலாங்கிறாங்க. இல்லைன்னா இந்த வருஷமே எல்லா சாங்ஷன் இருந்தால் இந்த வருஷமே பார்த்துக்கலாம். நிறைய அதுக்கு சாங்ஷனே கிடையாது. அப்புறம் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் அடுத்து கேட்டால், சார் அதான் கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கிற சார், கொடுக்குறாங்க சார், ரெகுலரைஸ் பண்ணுறேங்கிறாங்க சார், ரெகுலரைஸே பண்ணல சார். கொஞ்ச நாள் கழிச்சு ரெகுலரைஸ் பண்ண வேண்டியதில்லைன்னு கேட்டால் அதுக்குள்ளே 12A போயிடும். அண்ட் 12A போச்சுன்னா வாட் இஸ் த taxable சார்? It is simply the MMR on the gross, nothing else. Leave alone just the tax, 115 TD, the accredited income tax. There will be nothing left in the institution to run the institution if it goes that way. So, leave this another one. I was just saying, no, integrated portal currently. And if you go and click that portal, it says these are the laws applicable to you. நீங்க இண்டஸ்ட்ரின்னு போடணும். இப்போ எஜுகேஷனல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்னா எஜுகேஷனை போயிட்டு கிளிக் பண்ணி கொண்டு வரணும் போர்ட்டலில், and it will show 16 laws. We will be at loss, surely, which law to apply. And no more it is we can call tax exemption for NPOs. I used to call for last 4 decades. I feel no more we can call tax exemption for NPOs. Better to call taxation for NPOs. Why? Because tax for everything. Any disallowance, there is a tax. Anything, 40A3 disallowance, there is tax. 40A1A, TDS, violation, tax. Now, for example, 85% of the contribution only will be allowed as application. Tax. You know? And we are trying to see how no tax, even in these situations. You know? So, it is not anymore tax exemption from no returns to numerous returns and reports. Postal era to portal regime with daily notices and show cause notices. Paradigm shift in the Income Tax Act for NPOs with frequent amendments, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. Tell me 1 year in the last 10 years with no amendment for the NPOs. Can you identify? Not possible, including this year. And from 10B and ITR 7, getting forms, getting complex year after year, it is going to be challenging for us. Friends, I would like to stop here with just 3 thoughts. One is, as we Indians, we are not going to be discouraged for being charitable. We can upfront take up this topic, and we have great need and also responsibility. And I can tell you proudly, not because only we are gathered here. In any other gathering, I have been saying it. Every opportunity, I have been saying it. It is only this group of great minds can help these institutions. In their accounting, in their auditing, in their compliance matters, in their tax exemptions, in all of this, there is no better family than the family of the chartered accountants, the community of the chartered accountants, who can help them and make sure these organizations not only survive but also become more and more vibrant, because there is a need for these organizations in the society today. We cannot be an isolated island. We have to be part of the mainstream, and the mainstream is millions who are in great need for charity. Not only poor people, there are also rich people who are more unhappy than the poor people because of various issues happening with them in their current families or in their situation. Even there, only these organizations are supportive for them. And in the culture which is transforming, for example, those days we used to be all together, ourselves and our children, our grandchildren. Now, that is not the reality. You know, we are left alone. Our children are also there. They are busy with them, and the grandchildren also busy with them. So in the current context, we also, from our home, we may go to old age home. It's happening already. Old age homes are, all over the city. You go to Chennai or Bangalore, I don't know about Madurai, there are so many old age homes, but they are also well run, well built, well maintained. I'm just bringing in context to say that culture, Indian culture, is also transforming fast. And these are the organizations who step in to support these current developments and the current trends. With these thoughts, I wish all of us a wonderful day collaborating with these organizations, not just discussing, but collaborating with these organizations, learning together the challenges that are before us, and successfully, in an upfront manner, addressing these issues and feel happy and satisfied. Thank you so much, and I'm very grateful for giving me this opportunity today.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful effective Mr. Karthik from Sivakasi will be the moderator for the session, and the speakers being Dr. C. M. Kandasami and C. A. Daniel Selvaraj. More than 3 decades, he is a commerce graduate from American College, Madurai. He has also completed intermediate in the Institute of Pastoral Books Accountant of India. He is secured 41st rank in the intermediate examination of ICAI. He has completed visa conducted by ICAI. He is also a certified public accountant USA. He has been the president of Temple City JSS Madurai in 1999 to 2000 and conducted leadership programs for 2000 schools and college students. He was the chairman of Madurai branch of SARC of ICAI in 2000 to 2001 and a co-opted member in Corporate and Allied Laws Committee of ICAI in New Delhi in 2004 and 5. He was a co-opted member of the Information Technology Committee of SARC of ICAI in 2014 to 15. His field of specialization is not-for-profit sector. He has travelled to Afghanistan and Sri Lanka on NPO's professional assignment. He has done professional assignments for many international funding agencies. He has addressed SARC and ICAI branches on NPO-related topics. He has been conducting training programs on professional topics and on personality development for CEOs, executives, managers and staffs. He is a visiting faculty for Central Excise. We like to hear from you, sir.
The most complex, I may not call it complicated, complex two issues are the audit report, that is Form 10B, and then the ITR 7. Now, if you take Form 10B alone, one full day is not enough. As you will agree with me, I am sure you will not dispute. If you take ITR 7, another full day is also not enough. And if you want to match both, God help. I do not know 1 day or 2 days. We are struggling for 1 week and 2 weeks, still not matched. We only have still discrepancy. And some of you have already raised those discrepancies in your queries that you have shared. So what I would like to do humbly, with your permission, with your understanding, that we will touch upon Tia Danny and myself, 10B and 10BB, the significant aspects, where 10B is applicable, where 10BB only has to be used, and what are some of the complex areas in the 49 classes of 10B. And then 10BB automatically will be covered. If you cover 10B, 10BB will be automatically covered. And then we go to the ITR 7. What are those again important areas? Somebody told me during the break, sir, you have encouraged even those who don't want to touch it. Then I said, what's the problem? 70% okay, sir. 30% that's a problem. And then this is like jumping the well, 70%. Even if it is 90%, why 99% where we will fall? Sometimes better 50% நடுத்தரில் போய்விடுவோம். 99 the crash will be bad. So understandable. But I am telling you, we can feel 100%. Nothing great. I am sharing my own struggle, not expertise. It's not the right word here. It is a struggle and it is a continuing struggle. Day before yesterday on the 14th, for 1 month and 1.5 months, some of the Form 10B and 10BB, the utilities were filled and were ready. And ITR 7, the relevant ITR 7 also was made ready, because both you need OTP. லைஃப்ல டெய்லி ஓடிபி இல்லாத என்ன செய்யறது? வேற எது இருக்கோ இல்லையோ ஓடிபி. நம்மள மட்டும் ஓட்டுறது இல்ல, கிளையன்ட் ஓட்டணும். அந்த கிளையன்ட் ஓட்டுறப்ப என்ன சார் இத்தனை தடவை ஓட்டுறீங்களே, ஒரு தடவை ஓட்ட முடியாது சார். ஃபார்ம் 10B அக்செப்ட் பண்ணதுக்கு ஒரு ஓடிபி, அப்புறம் ஃபார்ம் 10B முடிச்சுட்டு அக்செப்ட் பண்ண பின்னால வந்துட்டு ITR 7 போனா அதுக்கு ஒரு ஓடிபி, அப்புறம் தப்பித்தது அக்குமுலேஷன் இருக்கு. எவ்வளவு இருக்கு? ஒன்றும் பெருசா இருக்காது, ஒரு 5% 7% இருக்காது ஒரு ஓடிபி. அது இல்லைன்னா எதுவுமே ஓட்ட முடியாது. 9B இல்லாத நீங்க இதுக்கு போக முடியுமா? ஃபார்ம் 10B போக முடியுமா? ஃபார்ம் 10B முடியாத ITR 7 போக முடியுமா? So இந்த ஒரு சூழ்நிலை இருக்கிறதுனால we will see some of those aspects. ஊரு பேரு அதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப அதிகம் வேணாம். அங்கேயும் பிரச்சனை இருக்கு. ஏன்னா அட்ரஸ் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா ஒவ்வொரு இடத்துலயும் ஒரு அட்ரஸ் போட்டுருக்கு இல்லையா. ஃபார்ம் 10A ஃபார்ம் 10AC போனா ஒரு அட்ரஸ், அண்ட் FCR சர்டிபிகேட் போனா வேற ஒரு அட்ரஸ். அதே என்டிட்டி வேற என்டிட்டிக்கு தான் பிரச்சனை இல்லை, அதே என்டிட்டி. அண்ட் இன்னொரு தப்பி தவிர GST போனா வேற ஒரு அட்ரஸ். ஏன் சார் இப்படிதான் கேட்டேன் சார். அப்பப்ப என்ன அப்ளை பண்ணப்ப என்ன இருக்கோ அதை கொடுத்தேன் சார். மாத்தது இல்லை சார் அப்படின்னா, இல்ல சார் தெரியலையே சார், எங்க மாத்துறதுன்னே தெரியலையே சார். சோ இந்த மாதிரி சூழ்நிலையில I want to complete request your understanding certain areas and certain other areas. If you feel that we would like to touch, just feel free. We will try our best. I hope you will kindly understand. Maybe is that okay? So some of it I will be running fast. Again, I request your understanding. What is audit report required to be filed? 12A, condition for applicability of section 11 and 12. It was never a condition before. And even if there was a condition, it was always getting condoned. But now it is a condition, if not no exemption. Now 12A1B, total income of a computed without giving effect to 11 and 12 exceeds the basic 250 in any financial year, then B becomes mandatory. Computed without giving effect. There are questions, sir. After giving effect, it is only so little, sir. It is before giving effect. 12A1B2, accounts for the year has to be audited by CA, publishes the report in the prescribed form. That is what Rule 17B says. From April 23 onwards, Rule 17B prescribes the conditions in choosing the form. That is 10B or 10BB. Mandates to file the return of income as per section 139(4)A within the time allowed. This is also now mandatory. There is no option, there is no condonation, it is mandatory. 139(4)A says income derived from property held under trust or other obligation wholly for charitable or religious purposes. Voluntary contribution referred to in 224(2)A. Each word will have so many implications. What is voluntary contribution? What is in 224(2)A? What is section 12(2)? What are the contributions that are covered in 12(2), etc. Total income without getting effect to section 11 and 12 exceeding the maximum amount which is not chargeable to tax. Timely filing without giving effect to the provisions of section 11 means gross receipts or total income without considering the expenditure. Gross receipts include corpus donations or any other donations reported in 224(2)A. Now, when it comes to gross receipts, I am coming across some of our colleagues have shared with me. Sir, நெட்டை வந்து போட்டிருக்கோம். ஒரு எஜுகேஷன் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ல 120 கோடி டர்ன் ஓவர், sometimes even more. But after all the expenditure, it is hardly 5 crores, sometimes even loss. அதை எடுத்துட்டு ஃபைல் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. Now, the question comes from the department. You have a huge turnover, but your income shown in the 10B and the ITR 7 is so low. How is it? This is a recent one happening even in the south of Tamil Nadu. What has happened? They go to the AIS and they go and see the total, the bank deposit, and the bank deposit shows 120 illa, adu 200 காட்டுது. ஏன்னா FD மெச்சூர் ஆயிருக்குல்ல, பழைய FD மெச்சூர் ஆயிருக்கு, அதெல்லாம் அந்த டோட்டல் அப்படியே போட்டு இப்பதான் AI ஆச்சே. AI அவர் AI ICAI has to help us Eddie. So AI says your total is 200 crores. I am using round sums. It will be slightly different. So how is it your income is so little? So you know one thing, gross receipt has to be considered and not the net. For your information, in the department itself, this is a problem. In Karnataka exemption, for a long time, they were only taking the net. We were filing correctly, our colleagues were filing correctly, the gross எடுத்து தான் ஃபைல் பண்ணாங்க. அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்க, நெட் எடுத்துக்கிட்டு your computation is wrong. எப்படி அவங்களுக்கு அது ஃபேவரபிள்னா, நம்ம கிராஸ் எடுத்தோம்னா 15% இஸ் வெரி ஹை, அவங்க நெட் எடுத்தாங்கன்னா 15% இஸ் சோ லிட்டில் அண்ட் தெர் இஸ் சர்ப்ளஸ். அதை எடுத்துட்டு டாக்ஸ் போட்டு பார்க்குறாங்க. நோ திஸ் கன்ஃபியூஷன். ஐ வுட் லைக் டு ஹம்பிளி சே correct income is a gross. No, we have to report cases. Program for community organization was one of the oldest cases from the Kerala High Court, went to the Supreme Court, and there are so many other case laws which says gross receipt is the income. Then, due date for filing return as an explanation 2 to section 139. Accounts to be audited 31st October, otherwise 31st July. Now, related filing of the return of income 139. 4 deals with filing of the return of related income. If the return not filed within the due date, may furnish the return for any previous year at any time before the end of the relevant assessment year or before the completion of the assessment, whichever is later. That is, file with the revised return, any omission or wrong statement, file revised return before the end of the relevant assessment year or before the completion of whichever is earlier. And in case of Section 8 company being assessed as company, maximum amount not equal to tax will not apply. Consequences of failure to furnish the return 5,271F from 1718 onwards, penalty at the rate of 100 per day for default, and timely filing of the return. In Section 11(2) benefits no more will be available as per Section 39. This is a blow. This is a blow on the charitable institutions, because even those who are alert, who have excellent financial team, they are finding it difficult to file it on time. What about those in the small towns and the villages? I see here some of you sitting here running a school in a remote place for the poor children. I see here. And I know what struggle they go through even to get an accountant to finish the accounts, and then to get the auditor to complete the audit, and then to file the return in this complex environment. No provision will not be available. And the statement referred in clause A of 11(2) form 10 before and what is 11(2) clause A? 5-year accumulation. 5-year accumulation. And that has to be also filed. As you know, the law came last year making it mandatory to file by 31st August this month. Then the circular came. Nowadays circulars are overruling the law. Quite a few cases, circulars are overruling the law. How far it is valid, we don't know. So far it is beneficial, we thank. So the circular said, no, you can file the 9A or 10 up until the filing of the return of income. Now this year is again question whether they are allowed to go up to filing of the return or whether up to 31st August is a question now. There is no clarity. And filing of return of income on or before the due date and 39, and audit report is 10B when due date for filing the form. 23-24 was 30th September 23. File the form 10B, file the form on time. With effect from 2021, it is required that form 10B is mandatory filed in the online mode only. Prior to that, it was the offline mode. What time is the 6 o'clock train starting? What time is the 6 o'clock train starting? 6 o'clock train. 6 o'clock train. What time is it starting? அந்த மாதிரி இங்க வந்து அப்பெல்லாம் நம்ம 10B ஃபைல் பண்ணும்போது எப்படி பண்ணுவோம், நம்ம அதே பேச வேண்டியது இல்லையா? ரெஜிஸ்டரும் ஓப்பனா இருக்கும், டேட்டும் ஓப்பனா இருக்கும், நம்ம பேப்பர்லாம் ஓப்பனா இருக்காது இல்லையா? பேப்பர் ரெடியாண்டி போய் ஃபைல் பண்ணணும். Now nothing is possible. As I told you earlier in the day, 11:58 starting uploading instead of 11:59 or at least 12:00.00.0001 with all the implications. That's all. So, there was a important judgment from the High Court to the jail. Simple one line: hang him not, leave him. The fellow who was making that statement, judge சொல்லிட்டாரு, இவர் எழுதுறவர் அன்னைக்கு காலையில் பெரிய சண்டை எங்க வீட்டுல. அதனால அவர் எழுதும் போது hang him, not leave him. He was speaking for himself, not for the person. அந்த மாதிரி இப்ப நம்ம கேசிங்க small comma wrong. எடுத்து பாருங்க, யூட்டிலிட்டி எடுத்து பாருங்க, ஒரு ரோல போறதுக்கு பதிலா அடுத்த ரோல போச்சுன்னா டாக்ஸ் ஓவர். அது எதமா not ordinary. So form 10B first has to be assigned to the CA by the taxpayer. Taxpayer என்ன ஏது தெரியாது, நம்ம தான் அசைன் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Practical. அப்புறம் how the audit report will be filed. Practice in CA can upload and e-verify the form using registered active valid DSC. The taxpayer has to accept the request and e-verify the same using the DSC to complete the submission. The audit report is filed. Now, அவங்களுக்கு அசைன் பண்றது தெரியாது, அதை அக்செப்ட் பண்றது தெரியாது. ஓடிபி போடுறப்ப மட்டும் கேட்பாரு, ஏன் இப்படி ஓட்டிக்கிட்டே இருக்கீங்க? ஒரு தடவையில முடியாதா இல்லையா? ஒரு தடவையில முடிஞ்சா நம்ம செய்ய மாட்டோமா? ஒரு தடவை கூட தேவையில்லை சொல்லவே மாட்டோம் இல்லையா? So now there are cases, live cases without going to any names. Form 10B-ய 9A பண்ண முடியாது. 9A இருந்தா 10 இருந்தா என்ன ஃபில்அப் பண்ணுங்க. ஃபார்ம் ITR 7 10B இல்லாத 10B யோட அக்னாலஜ்மென்ட் போடணும். இப்போ இந்த வருஷம் அப்லோட் பண்ண முடியாது. ஆனா ஒன்று பாத்துங்க, ஃபார்ம் 10B-ய அப்லோட் பண்ணிட்டு கிளையண்ட் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணாத இருந்தா கூட ITR 7 பண்ணிடணும். ரைட்? ஏன்னா ITR 7 என்ன வேணும்? 10B எவ்வளவுதான். Sorry to tell you, there are 22 cases. After 10B is uploaded, client has not accepted. Client யார்? நம்ம தான் ஆனா நம்ம ஏன் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணல? DSC இல்ல. சில கேஸ்ல DSC இருந்தா தான் கம்பெனி நான் கம்பெனி you cannot use the OTP, you have to use the DSC. And DSC இல்ல. அப்படி DSC கஷ்டப்பட்டு வாங்கினா எக்ஸ்பயர் இல்லையா? So what happens during the assessment, the audit report is declared invalid. I'm giving you live cases where the tax demand is 110 crores, 220 crores, 484 crores. இதெல்லாம் பப்ளிக் டொமைன்ல வந்ததுன்னா அப்பத்தி அதிகமா பண்ணிட்டு மெட்ராஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டி பப்ளிக் டொமைன்ல வந்து பேப்பர்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்க, எல்லா அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ் ப்ரோசன் 484 crores was the demand. யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கே நம்மளா ஏதோ ஒரு யூனிவர்சிட்டிக்கே இந்த சரினா வேற பி. So that is now form. What's the need for new form? Many changes are brought relating to charitable institutions. Complaints or violation status, those changes to be captured and hence the new form. Penalty for non-filing of the audit report, no separate penalty, but the organization will lose the exemption under section 11(2). 11(2) exemption after losing penalty went ma. Yeah, wiped out, completely wiped out. And losing exemption 11 itself is a big penalty. Now, 1BA mandates to file the return of income as per 139(4)A within the time allowed. 139(4)A says already we have covered this. Voluntary contribution is also covered. Total income is also covered. Now, gross receipts, due date. Am I going backward?
Yes. I think it would have been better twice.
If I'm going forward, because I must not know where I'm going. That only shows how the income tax ITR 7 and Form 10B. Audit report 10B has to be filed 1 month prior to the due date of filing the return of income and 139(1). Due date for filing is under 4A and 4C. You know the difference. One is for the return 1 and the other is for the return 2. That is the October of the year. And it's the date for September of the year. And the objective is for pre-filling the income tax return from the audit report. Extension of due date 2020 COVID was extended. for the return of income, 4 food C plus 30,000. These are all old story, but why this is relevant in case the assessments are still going on or some demand is happening, then you can make use of this information to get the assessment fully completed with the nil demand. Now, condemnations. As you are knowing, there are quite a few circulars in the past. These are the realities. One is circular 2020 of January 20 for form number 10B, within 365 days, CIT can control. If it is more than 365 days, 18, 19 onwards, according to 16 2022, 19 July 22, form 10B, BCCIT or CCIT can control the delay. Condemnation of delay is filing form number 10B, circular 19 of the 3rd November 2020, and for the year before 1890, 365 for the assessment 1819 onwards, and again circular 15 of 22, more than 365 days, same way. Now, and that is what you have been asking, if wrongly filed, instead of 10B, BB, instead of BB, B, and you may ask, intentionally we are wrongly filed? No. Some of us have taken a stand after considered discussion. Only 10B, BB is applicable for me. I will give just one example. There are many examples. One example is, if FCRA is there, then B, even though the turnover is below 5 crores. Now the question is, FCRA, the renewal is suddenly refused. ரெண்டுலயே ரெஃப்யூஸ் பண்ணியாச்சு 21ல அப்ளை பண்ண 21 டிசம்பர் வரைக்கும் நவம்பர் வரைக்கும் அப்ளை பண்ணா 22ல ரெஃப்யூஸ் பண்ணியாச்சு. they could not have received any foreign service. Now therefore we used form 10BB. But the department came up with a query, you should have used 10B. How they come up with the query? Because அந்த FCRA இடத்துல போய் அந்த நம்பர் போடுறோம், ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் நம்பர் போடுறோம், அதை கேட்குது, ரெஃப்யூஸ் பண்ணிருந்தான்னு கேட்கல. அப்படி கேட்டது அதையும் போட்டுருக்கோம். என்ன பண்ண முடியல, நான் அவனே பார்த்துக்குவோம். all portals are integrated. Now, in this case, the correct position is what you have done. That is, 10BB only is correct. Because the section says if there is a receipt of foreign contribution. It does not say that whether you have a registration. But sometimes receipt also sometimes is cheating for us. What is it? Bank interest will be there. And bank interest, is it a foreign contribution? Yes. According to the definition in FCRA itself, not in the past but recent times, it is a foreign contribution. Whether it is a FD interest or SB interest, it is a foreign contribution. And therefore the form 10B will become applicable. I think that's complex enough. I need not go further. But in any case, if there is a really genuine mistake, you can definitely apply and then file the new form and get the condonation. For your information, up to last time கொடுத்தாங்க, நீங்க மாத்திக்கங்க. If you have done this, please change it. சொல்லி டைமே கொடுத்தாங்க. அப்படி அந்த டைம்ல நம்ம செய்ய முடியலனா கூட it is not a great mistake. ரெண்டுமே ஆடிட் ரிப்போர்ட் தானே. என்ன சார் BB ஒரு B தான் சார் ஆட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க இல்லையா சார்? ஒரு B ஆட் பண்ணிட்டு என்ன சார் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? குறைச்சிருக்காங்க சார். 49 32 கிளாஸ் பண்ணிருக்காங்க சார். நான் அதிகமாக பண்ணிட்டேன். Which is true. So I don't think this is a big issue. Of course, it is not cakewalk. Depends on the department and their officers, etc. But definitely you have a very good case. And in case the department is not favorable, you always have the other channel. Legal remedy is there. In many of the cases where the condemnation is not given, the court has been very favorable. You may be already aware of that. So need not worry, that is the end of the road. Now, look at this. Before Amendment 16CC 17B provides the audit report in this way. Audit report in case of 11 exemption 10B, audit report in the case of 1023C, that is regime 1, the PB. After the amendment, audit reports has to be issued only in the new form 10B, BB from the year 23, assessment year 23, 24 onwards, that is previous year or financial year 22, 23 onwards. Now 12AB, 10B, 5 crore if it is 10B, and below that it is BB. And 16CC says in the case of 1023C, etc., form 10B and 10B. In other words, earlier it was so simple, 11, 10B. Non-11, 1023C or whatever there, BB. Now, both are applicable for both. When, if it is above 5 crores, it is 10B. And again 10B if there are two other conditions, FC or LC or outside India. 11(1)C, if contribution made outside India, then B becomes applicable. Even though the turnover is below 5 crores. 5 crores. Now, for contribution, we have already talked about it. Any other case it is form 10B. I think this part is clear. There is no issue about it. Where is when 10B, when 10BB is clear. Now the classes, don't get threatened. We have seen classes after classes, CA class onwards. So nothing great. See, 5 pages, 17 pages. We have seen 170 pages, 1,700 pages in the Income Tax Act and in its commentary. So, similarly, 16 clauses to 49 clauses, 6 pages, 6 pages. That is for 10BB, 19 clause to 32 clauses. These numbers should not bother us because many of the information is routine. Only some of the information we have to be very careful. Now, 10B, new areas of reporting. I don't want to read this. I just want to say, 10B, what is the authentic basis? Where the 10BB comes from? Not from section 11, not from section 13, comes from 80G. 80G, primarily for those donors who want to get the 80G benefit, 10BD is mandatory. If it is not in the 10BD and if no 10BE is given, the 80G won't go automatically to the donor. That is why the 10BD is mandatory. Now, questions. What about others, sir, who don't want 80G? See, there are some donors, sir, like 80G banner, sir. Yeah, man. New example, 80G, you see the logic? They don't need. So, in the case, you get 10BD, yeah, of course, some ask, sir, 115 BBC vandiruma. BBC, anonymous donation. Adhula vandu tax pottruvaanga poda mudiyadhu. Because these are donations with PAN. What more you need PAN for authenticity? So you have PAN. Maybe there are some cases without PAN also. But other proof is available, other evidence is available. If it is a scam, we are not here for that. Scam is a scam. We are not here to prevent everything. We are not God to prevent everything. That can go on. But in genuine cases, 115 BBC cannot be applied. Just because it is not in the 10 BD. But of course, remember, you have to fill in the ITR 7. How much is covered in the 10 BD? What is not covered in the 10 BD? Fill it. Something is covered in the 10 BD because the ATG benefit has to be made available. Something is not filled because the ATG benefit was not necessary. And that should not be the reason for not filling correctly in the ITR 7. Now, if I go reading this, we will never end it. So I will be just taking 30 seconds. And here, for example, two phrases are interesting. One is in my opinion and best of my information, and the other is subject to the following observations and qualifications. See the difference. First is opinion, my information according to the explanation. Second is a qualification. I don't want to go to too many examples. Take a simple example. 17AA. We are all familiar. 17AA. Man But from 1973, when the 12A came, then onwards audit report has been mandatory, as you know, under section 12A 1B. But accounting, maintenance of accounts has never been mandatory for charitable trusts. But how do you audit without the accounts? Then came in August 22, the 17AA. And 17AA has come in such a way, நம்ம என்னதான் try பண்ணாலும் it will not be according to 17AA. That is the situation. Go through the 17AA, see which organization can fulfill the entire conditions in 17AA. அத்தனை அங்க conditions. தெரியா, இன்கமுக்கு தனியா ரெஜிஸ்டர், எக்ஸ்பெண்டிச்சருக்கு தனியா ரெஜிஸ்டர், அப்ளிகேஷன் ஆஃப் இன்கமுக்கு தனியா ரெஜிஸ்டர், இமூவபிள் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிக்கு தனியா ரெஜிஸ்டர், மூவபிள் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிக்கு தனியா ரெஜிஸ்டர். இது என்ன ஜோக்குனா, ட்ரஸ்ட்டை கேட்டீங்கன்னா வாட் ஆர் யுவர் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிஸ்? ஐ நெசர் டோன்ட் நோ. வை ஐ பிகேம் ட்ரஸ்டி ஒன்லி ரீசன்ட்லி. அதனால என்ன, நீங்க இப்பதான் ட்ரஸ்டியா இருக்கீங்க, ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி எப்ப இருந்து இருக்குது? எங்க சார் இதெல்லாம் கிடைக்குன்னா, ஒரு இடத்துல கிடைக்கும். எங்க தெரியுங்களா? லாயர் கிட்ட இருக்கலாம். ஏன் லாயர் கிட்ட இருக்குன்னு, எல்லா ப்ராப்பர்ட்டியுமே டிஸ்பியூட் இருக்குது சார். கணக்கு வழக்கெல்லாம் எப்படி வச்சிருக்கீங்கன்னா, கணக்கு அவ்வளவு ஒண்ணு பெருசு கிடையாது சார், வழக்கு நிறைய. இதுதான் ட்ரஸ்டீஸோட பெஸ்ட் ஆன்சர் இப்போ. சோ இத வச்சுக்கிட்டு நம்ம இங்க போயிட்டு 17AA ஃபுல்ஃபில் ஆயிருக்கா, ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருக்கா, அந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி யாரு பேர் இருக்கு, அந்த ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிக்கு என்ன டாக்குமெண்ட் இருக்கு, அவங்க கேட்ட சொல்றாங்க சார் டாக்குமெண்ட் எல்லாம் ஒண்ணு கிடையாது, ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி இருக்கு, வாங்க சார் பார்க்கலாம். நான் அதை பார்த்து நீங்க என்ன போட போறீங்க? ஐ விசிட்டட் தி ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி போட போறீங்களா? அப்படி போய் பார்த்தாரு வேற யாரோ பட்டா இருக்காது. Trust properties are in such a terrible mess. That is the reality. Now, qualification, we have to be careful. There are situations where we are unable to certify a few things, and we have to be, if it is not, or if we don't fill here, our audit report will not be complete. And giving a clean audit report for a non-profit audit today, it's very rare. Not because they are doing fine, they are doing good work, but some of their issues, particularly in the area of property, etc., is unclear. So we have to find a way. Please don't mistake me that we are misguiding them or we are wrongly stating, but we have to take a way that, for example, when it comes to property, what I have been advising, are you having a fixed asset register? Yes, sir. But you know the joke, is fixed asset from last 20-30 years. Never moved. Property வித்திருப்பாங்க, புது ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி வாங்கியிருப்பாங்க, ஆனா ஃபிக்ஸ்ட் அசெட் அப்படியே ஃபிக்ஸ்டா இருக்கு, கொஞ்சம் கூட மாறும். இப்ப எடுத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்ப இருக்கிற அசெட்டுக்கும் அங்க அந்த ரெஜிஸ்டருக்கு கொஞ்சம் கூட சம்பந்தம் இருக்காது. சோ நம்ம என்ன போடலாம்? ஃபிக்ஸ்ட் அசெட் ரெஜிஸ்டர் இஸ் ஃபிக்ஸ்ட் இயர். ஒரு ஆப்ஷன். ரெண்டாவது ஆப்ஷன், the fixed asset register is improper. இன்னொன்னு, the fixed asset register is in progress. Country is in progress. Asset register also in progress. Progress வெளியே போயிட்டே. This always சொல்லலாம். அப்படி progress போயிட்டே தான் அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு 2-3 asset இப்ப எடுது. இந்த வருஷம் வாங்கிருக்கீங்கல்ல, போன மார்ச்க்குள்ள வாங்கிருக்கீங்கல்ல, பாருங்க பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட் எடுத்தா தெரியுது, அடிஷன் போட்டிருக்கீங்களே. Income tax, ITR 710 million. புது பேட்டரி போடணுமா? So, ஆனா நீங்க என்ன பண்ணாலும் will be back. என்ன பேட்டரி போனாலும் will be back. So, I think I have shared some of the challenges that are here. டைட்டில் பத்தி நான் முன்னாலே சொல்லிட்டேன். பேரே வந்து சில என்டிட்டிஸுக்கு வெவ்வேறு பேர். நான் சொல்றது நாட் இமேஜினேஷன். எஃப்சிஆர்ஐ சர்டிபிகேட் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா அங்க ஒரு பேர் இருக்கு, ஏதாவது விட்டு போயிருக்கு, டிஹெச்சி அப்படிங்கிறது விட்டு போயிருக்கு. இல்ல இன்கம் டேக்ஸ் போய் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா அங்க ஒரு பேர் இருக்கு. அட்ரஸ் பத்தி முன்னால சொன்னேன், பேர்லயே பிரச்சனை வரும். So what we have to do when it comes to IT filing, I simply say take what is in the IT documents. அப்படி கொஞ்சம் மாத்தினீங்கன்னா உடனே ஃபைல் பண்ண குறை வரும். This is not the entity that you are filing. The name as per the IS 10AC and the name that is in the ITR 7 and the Form 10B is wrong. Mismatch. வந்திருக்குல்ல அதே மாதிரி அந்த சமயத்துல 80Gக்கும் 12Aக்கும் 10ACல ஒரே ஒரு சின்ன கோடு 12Aல E இருக்கு. ராங் நம்பர் யூனிக் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் E இருக்கு. 80Gல F இருக்கு. சில பேர் ஃபில்அப் பண்றது F போட்டுட்டு அப்புறம் E போட்டுட்டாங்க. அதுக்கு பெரிய நோட்டீஸ் அசஸ்மெண்ட் டிமாண்ட் போயிட்டு. So still some of them are, and also I suggest that we be very careful. Mostly, most of the cases. Recently it is not, but I am talking about in the past. And also first 6 months, lot of cases renewal வந்து provisional certificate கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. Do you remember that? It is actually not provisional. It is a 5-year renewal. அதுக்கு வந்து தனி நோட்டீஸ். You don't have 5-year renewal. You are an old body. So then when we saw the certificate, அப்பதான் நமக்கும் பார்க்கறாரு 5-year renewal கேட்டு provisional வார்த்தை போட்டு வச்சிருக்காங்க. இதெல்லாம் போட பின்னால அப்புறம் ஒரு காலேஜாண்டா டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்ல ஒரு காலேஜாண்டா ரெகுலரா வரதே பார்க்க முடியல. காலேஜாண்டா மேல யார் போய் பார்க்கறது? அந்த காலேஜாண்டை கண்டுபிடிச்சு அதை வந்துட்டு எழுதி அப்புறம் மறுபடியும் இது கேட்கறது ரெக்டிஃபிகேஷன். இல்ல சார் இது வந்து 5-year renewal தான். This is not provisional. You know, currently, as you know, I'm just giving here an information. அந்த தள்ளி போட்டாங்க, பழைய renewal தள்ளி போட்டாங்க இல்லையா? கடைசியா எது வரைக்கும் கொடுத்தாங்க? ஜூன் வரைக்கும் கொடுத்தாங்க. இப்போ ஜூன்ல இருந்து இப்போ we are at loss again. There is no provision to file old ones. You know, ஆனா இப்போ கண்டனேஷன் கொடுத்த கண்டனேஷன் கேட்டா கண்டனேஷன் பத்தி பேசினாலே அக்டோபருக்கு பின்னால பார்க்கலாம். Just now, not now, sir. ஒரு நாள் ஒரு மாசத்துக்குள்ள யார் சார் கேட்டுட்டு இருப்பாங்க? எங்க பிரச்சனையா தானே ஒரு நிமிஷம் ஒரு மணி நேரம் இந்த மாதிரி தான் எனக்கு பிரச்சனை. ஏன்னா எல்லாம் போர்ட்டலாச்சே. போஸ்டல்ல எங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனையே வராது. எல்லாரும் எங்க கண்ட்ரோல் தான். So போர்ட்டல்ல வந்து ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாது. So that is going on. But one way is, suppose it is a provisional, then we can go for immediately for condemnation. Condemnation may not be granted until October, because as you know the amendment that is saying that condemnation should be after 1st October 2024. Now, IND is come now. Previously, it was not there. The profit and loss account is not the right word. 10B will go in profit and loss account. 3CB na understand. 10B is a it cannot come as a profit. And 17AA books at the regional office and books at the registered office and intimation. Without going too much into it, so many trusts who have branches all over the state or all over the district or all over the country. Last year they just took a view. எல்லாமே எங்க கிட்ட தான் சார் இருக்கு. லெட்டர் கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. எல்லாமே எங்க கிட்ட தான் இருக்கு. ITO யாரா அனுப்புனா, இன்ஸ்பெக்டர் அனுப்புனா எல்லாமே அவங்க கிட்ட வெவ்வேறு இடத்துல இருக்கும். Now this is one thing going on. But last year, after a lot of discussion, we took it easy because we were not asked to comment on that. They were supposed to intimate, as you are aware, and they intimated. You know, and of course there are very live cases. See, the vouchers are anganga irukku, but accounts are in the central server. That is a reality. Central server. They will be right. They will be right because main accounts are in the central server, which is in the registered office. Now, coming back here, this year, I don't know if you already have seen the utility after 14th, after 13th. 14th onwards, the utility is asking, you mentioned whether the assessee has intimated about the maintenance of accounts under 17AA. Now we become responsible this year onwards. So that is why the 10B utility which was uploading until the 13th night, 14th onwards is not uploading. Both for 10BB and also for 10B because new questions are asked. Earlier, we used to validate it in the new version, next version. Now that validation also is not working. So you have to go back and refill again, and imagine refilling 10B. 10B itself is 32 classes. 10B refilling, just imagine and see what it's going to be. Now, the annexures are true and correct. We always wonder what is true, what is correct. And when we certify true and correct, our next question is what is true, what is correct. But now they are asking not only the main page but also the annexures. All annexures we have to say whether it is true and correct. Now, in the case of income and expenditure account of the income and application, see the word application. Normally as auditors, when we say income and expenditure, we mean the revenue part. But in the case of these non-profits, charities, application includes not only the revenue part but also the capital. Very application, building, equipments, etc. Income and application, we have to certify that, subject to the following observations. Now, part 6 is about ourselves. I hope here there will be no problem. Here there should be no problem. Now, online filling of the form using the utility. How much can we see? At least the income, gross income, application, and the sources. Shall we see that? See, in the online, so many things are there. I do not want to waste your time because many of them are just the name and address and things like that. One place that creates lot of problem for all of us is filling the income part and the application part and the matching of the sources. The sources for the application is not just the current year income. You agree with me? Sources for the application, can you say what are they? Current year income, of course. What else? Last year accumulation. Available this year for utilization. Last year it was a deemed. If it is 1 year, 9 year, adutha varsha 1 year it should have been utilized. That is another source. If it is 5 years, then I don't know, it may be coming from 4th year or even 5th year, this is the last year. So whatever is the remaining of the 5-year accumulation left over and utilized this year is the another source. Right? இதெல்லாமே இல்லைனா அதிகமா அப்ளை பண்ணிருந்தா what does it mean? Automatic 15% இருக்கும் இல்லையா pastல automatic 15% that becomes the source. இதெல்லாமே இல்லைனா வேற என்னலாம் இருந்திருக்கும்? பழைய கார்பஸ், not the latest corpus. Latest corpus என்ன இருக்கணும்? 21 க்கு பின்னால 11/5 ல போய் டெபாசிட் ஆயிருக்கணும். Isn't it? Old corpus க்கு நம்ம கொடுத்திருப்போம், ஒரு old letter கொடுத்திருப்போம். This is corpus. That's all. Full stop, no comma semicolon. இப்போ அந்த மாதிரி லெட்டரோட தப்ப முடியாது. போயிட்டு டெபாசிட் பண்ணணும், etc. So, in other words, and the utility, I'm sure those of you filing the return, you are going, step by step through that utility. So this part is the most important part. இந்த பார்ட்ல தான் நிறைய தப்பு வந்தது. இந்த பார்ட்ல தப்பு வர்றதுனால தான் வேலிடேஷன் ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. Mismatch வருது. And also assessment போது worries நிறைய வருது. That you are not properly applied, it is not matched, source is not matching with your application, etc. Now, I go to the ITR 7. ITR 7 very often, as you are aware, what is asked in the 10B is not exactly in the ITR 7. ITR 7 இந்த data தான் fill up பண்ணணும். ஆனால் not in the same format. You agree? Now, when you fill up the same data in the other utility, that is ITR 7 utility, very often we end up with some discrepancy. Discrepancy. You take the recent example, current year example, because as I said, or quite a few other colleagues, some of you are right here who have already started filing. We have observed one serious discrepancy. We thought this discrepancy should not be there. How is it coming? We went on exploring for the last 1.5 months, sometimes for the last 2 months, and some of the colleagues sitting here, we have been also interacting. I am also proud to say at this time that in several branches you have nowadays, எந்த group இருக்குதோ இல்லையோ NPO group இருக்கு இப்போ. Yeah, I'm so proud because you are sharing lot of information there, lot of learnings are taking place. This is a very, very big, facility for those who want to get involved and those who said, "Play, we should give," because whatever we call it, it is a report or an information or a discrepancy, which we don't want to use that word. Most likely, we are going to get a query from the department. We have been getting a query when there is a difference, whether it is whatever you call it, discrepancy or whatever, there is a difference between the ITR 7 and the audit report. We have been getting this query. So when we get a query, you know the answer. This is the answer. This is the answer, and it is a genuine answer. There is no manipulation, there is no misstatement, there is no understatement, etc. I am sorry, I have just taken one example. But there are several such situations where the data flow in the ITR 7 and the data flow in the Form 10B or DB are quite, I don't say wrong, but confusing. Even come to investment, for example. When you come to 11.5 investment, there is lot of question about it. What is the investment 11.5 that is eligible for corpus donation exemption under section 11.1D after 21. Before 21 there was no issue, only a letter of corpus donation. There was no mandatory requirement to invest that letter, that corpus into 11.5 mode. But after 21, it is mandatory to invest the corpus in the 11.5 mode. The corpus donation, if it is only applied, it is not going to give us any exemption. Only when it is invested, it is going to give us the exemption. Now, when we come to fill up the investments in the 10B, again, we have to be very careful. Which of those 11.5 is as per the amended act after 21 to enable us to get the 11.1D? And which are the other 11.5 investments which have nothing to do with the 21, after post 21 corpus donation. I think it's enough to mention that when we are filling these two utilities, we'll have to be extremely careful. But when we come across genuine difference, I don't want to call it a discrepancy as per our colleague, our friend C.S. We don't want to call it discrepancy. When there is a difference, we be prepared to explain what is the difference. Okay? Now, it is not my intention to go through every item of this utility. I am sure you are familiar here with these things. Only the heading I will touch for 30 seconds or maximum 1 minute. The headings. First is the report from an accountant. We have seen it already. And second is the basic details and the legal nature. I have already spoken about it, filling the name, etc. There can be differences in the name as per the 10AC, FCRA certificate, GST, etc. And the objects and the commencement of activities. We have to be careful because if we have gone for professional, then we have to fill accordingly. If we have gone for regular, then we have to fill accordingly. Then details are placed where the books of accounts are maintained and other documents have been maintained. We have to be again cautious. What is it here? 17AA compliance. That is what is asked. Now this year onwards, we have to specifically report whether the assessee has informed compliance under section 17AA. Advancement of general public utility, GPU. Why GPU here? 215 provides so. Whatever 215 proviso says, if the GPU part and the trade commerce part is exceeding 20% of the gross receipts, and if it is not incidental to the main activities, then it will lose the character of the charity, as you are aware. But that's only for GPU, not for the other limbs of the 215. What are the other limbs? Education, no such issue. Medical relief, no such issue. Only when it comes to GPU, and GPU you are aware of the Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, where there is a Supreme Court decision. With due respect, the Supreme Court decision has solved the problems is not clear, because it says it should be near to the markup price. What is that price? No one knows. And similarly, one more Supreme Court decision regarding educational activities. Only exclusively educational activities also a very, very important decision, because there the Supreme Court says if there is any other activity which is not educational, then it will not continue with that exemption. Now, it is also there, if an educational institution allows another educational institution to conduct a program in this institution which can be even of educational nature, it is not educational for this institution. I hope I am clear. So that is the level of the pronouncement nowadays from the Supreme Court, which we have to be careful. Then we go to the application of income. Application of income, we just spoke about it. When you really open that, and it comes, what all you have to fill it up. And details of the income and capital asset, application out of different sources of which we just spoke about it, and then 1310 and the 22nd proviso, and the details of expenditure incurred religious purpose and persons referred in 13.3. About religious purpose, just one information. There is people who are asking, sir, 80G is given also for religious and charitable institutions. How is this possible? No, it is possible, because if you go to 80G 2B, it says religious expenditure can be up to 5% of the income of that year. So in that case, 80G is still eligible. The question is, what happens if it is exceeding 5%? And how to monitor that, it doesn't exceed 5% in different years. That is a critical job. Now, one more question. Sir, can the entity can get 80G when both for religious purpose, but when no objective there? Without objective, why 5%? Even 1% of religious expenditure is ultra vires. Because there is no, in the constitution or in the memorandum or the trustee object clause, there is no provision for it religious at all. Then in that case, you cannot have any expenditure. Let it be below 5%, 1%, 2%, or more than 5%. Not possible. And then of course, where are the 100 details of specified violations. You are aware of that. There are so many specified violations are displayed there. Specified violation. Just one. Specified violation. See, here we need to be calculated. But income of the auditee has been applied other than for the objects of the trust or the institution. Just now I spoke about it. If there is no religious object, and if there is even 1% or 2% or 5%, it will be covered here. It is a specified violation. Whether the income from profits and gains is incidental to the attainment of the objectives or separate books are not maintained business which is incidental, another specified. Whether they apply for any part of the income to private religious which does not ensure for the benefit. Whether the auditee is referred in clause 1, 13, etc. apply any part of the income for particular religious community or cost. But in particular religious, particular community SC, ST, women, etc. will not be covered. They will still be exempt. And whether any claim of depreciation and otherwise has been made in section 13, in 11.6 or in section 1023C, etc. So there are specified violations. This is where we have to be careful because previously these were not specifically asked in the audit report form. Now we have to be very careful. Can we go back? Then corpus, without corpus, as I already told you, after post 21 corpus, unless there is a level 5 investment, it cannot be accepted, exempted under section 11(1)(d). And after TDS, which one? In the form type, right here. Often type. After the question answer, then you can open it. Right here, we will show you the question answer. Okay, and then this is TDS disallowable and 2CSS, etc. 40A3, 40A3, 40A1A, and 269SS and T. All of these are violations. If there is disallowances, it will go to the attracting the disallowance 30%. 40A3 full cash disallowance above 10,000. Other disallowances 30%. They will go. One question that has been coming from many of our friends, sir, that disallowance, if it is within 15%, why we should be worried? Unfortunately, I agree with you, but when you go to the utility, even when the disallowance is well below 15%, it is asking us to compute the tax. I don't know if any of you have different experience. It asks you to compute the tax. Last year, in the first 2 months or 2.5 months, it allowed even basic exemption, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, we had to pay the tax. But somewhere along the way, about September beginning, the utility was modified. Up to basic exemption, no tax was paid. And right? And above the basic exemption, the tax was computed. And we paid the tax. So, Seekarama filed panunga, they were punished. Yes, I'm also a party. In the beginning, because we wanted to upload several returns, small ones, and the small ones are disallowance area. Disallowance area. So they ended up paying tax because we want to upload the return. Later on, it was amended and there was no tax up to the basic exemption. After the basic exemption, still tax was there. But that tax is just hardly 1% of the tax if the return was not filed on time. And some of them want to modify the financial statement itself. You know what I mean? March போயிட்டு outstanding TDS காட்டி interest ஓட TDS கட்டி then they want us to file. எப்ப முடியாது? You know, that's of course a big disallowance is there. That is a possibility. You are free to do that. Pass an entry, outstanding, pay the TDS with interest, then you get also the claim for the allowance application. Okay, I think anything more? Yeah, I think I have tried to touch upon some of the, what shall I say, problematic areas. If I want to run a full utility, it will take a day or more. But the problematic areas I have tried to touch upon, but this may not be solving all our problems. In the afternoon panel time, I will have two past chairman and resource persons with me. Now also they are going to share a little. After that, we can definitely discuss any questions that are not covered. Yes, sir, please. 1 or 2, it's okay now. Please.
17A, how to report to the AO?
through the, is there any form for reporting where the books of
Good question, sir. Right now there is no form.
How
Right now, last year what we did, hundreds of them reported last year under my own kind of advice, and also many colleagues were involved in this. We just used a white paper, but we did two things. One is we filed physically wherever possible. Physically wherever possible.
we have to go to Chennai?
Adan. The second what we did, you can easily click, you can get the jurisdictional officer.
Agreement.
அங்க போயிட்டு அப்லோட் பண்ணிடு.
Give it in the grievance, sir.
ஆமா. அங்க போய் அப்லோட் பண்ணிடு. ரெண்டையும் கையில வச்சிருக்கோம். That is the assessing part. But this year we have to report whether the assessee has reported as per 17(1). இப்போ வந்திருக்கிற யூட்டிலிட்டியில நம்ம போய் fill up பண்ணணும்.
Before filing 10B, we asked them to file the 17A where the books of accounts are
Yeah.
written.
Last year அப்படிதான் பண்ணோம். Both we waited for August and nobody has informed, nobody has intimated, nobody knew there is 17AA. We ourselves came to know August 22 to the 17AA came. We ourselves came to know only in March the meaning of it. And open பண்ண தான் தெரிஞ்சது அது தனி ஒரு வால்யூம் அது.
Sir,
Yes.
record for fixed asset. What about chairs, tables, utensils?
Sir, okay. Sir, I think we need to take it to the afternoon, but I respect the question. See the question. When it comes to the records of movable and immovable, as per section 17AA, how to go about? Sir, fixed asset register. Some have it. No, we cannot undermine, understate everybody. There are some institutions, entities who have it. அவங்க நீட்டா வச்சிருக்காங்க, பேர் போட்டுப்பாங்க, நம்பர் இருக்கும், etc. Sir, but majority of them, I don't want to generalize, majority of them, they don't have such fixed asset register. I want to bring in context. Don't mistake me. Similar requirement has come much more strongly under FCR. FC4 போன செப்டம்பர்லயே those who filed before September, we filed FC4 as usual. செப்டம்பர்ல ஃபைல் பண்ணும்போது அந்த கிளாஸ் வந்துட்டாங்க, மூவபிள் அண்ட் இம்மூவபிள். சார், இம்மூவபிளுக்கு ரெண்டு கேட்டகரி. ஒன்னு வந்துட்டு லேண்ட், பத்திரம், சேல் நீடா, கிஃப்ட் நீடா, nobody knows what is the need. But when it came to the building, what was needed? Plan sanction. How many buildings in the shares are plan sanction? So how to build? So what I would like to say, both are now coming together. FCRA requirement exactly on the same point, and 17AA is also there. I think, I don't want to, say your minds are great. I respect your thought process, your minds, your own thinking. But I would like to say, if it is not completed, at least ask them to start this register, and perhaps we can say it is under progress. So next year you may ask them what to say, under progress. So, and then also the clients will say, sir, அடுத்த வருஷம் progress தானே சார் இருக்குது, அடுத்த வருஷம் பண்ணிடலாம் சார். ஆனா அந்த ஆன்சர் அப்படியே போயிட்டு இருக்கு. இப்போ போன வருஷம் அவங்களே லெட்டர் கொடுத்தாங்க, என்னன்னு சொல்லிட்டு, சார் next year we'll be ready, sir. And one or two even gave a letter, sir, by December we'll be ready, sir. எந்த டிசம்பர்னு சொல்றாங்க. This is the situation. But you know that these bodies don't mean that by not maintaining these registers. They don't mean to cheat. They don't mean to do anything that is illegal. But unfortunately, that is the reality. And we have to see as professionals how to guide them. We have to be strict with them, saying, please maintain next year. Every year I can't give under progress. Then your demand also will be under progress. So, with this, I know there's such a lot to discuss. I would like to hand over to our FC vandiningla. Okay. Sir, this is the place. I myself took more than 2-3 days. First time when I had to build it up. In the இடத்துல, what we have to be careful. Live example I'll give you. Some of the trusts, they are having corpus from the 70s, 80s, 90s. They don't have the corpus donation deposited anywhere. They have used the corpus donation. It is in the form of land, it is in the form of building, it is in the form of equipments. They are also on 11.5 now. Immovable property is a 11.5 item. Yeah? After 21, it has to be in the deposit. You know? And you have to also prove it is exclusively corpus. அதனால சில பேர் என்ன பண்ணிட்டாங்க, தனி பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட்டை ஓபன் பண்ணி கார்பஸை அதுல தான் டீல் பண்றாங்க. கார்பஸ் அதுல டெபாசிட் பண்ணி அதுல இருந்து மறுபடியும் டெபாசிட், புது டெபாசிட், ரெனியூவல் எல்லாம் அதுல இருந்து பண்ணி இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட், கார்பஸ் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டையும் அதுல கொடுக்குறாங்க. டு ப்ரூவ் தட் இட் இஸ் இண்டிபெண்டன்ட்லி எக்ஸ்பிளிசிட்லி மெயின்டைன்ட் அஸ் கார்பஸ். அங்க இருந்து தான் இதை ஃபில் அப் பண்றோம். This defect. So in other words, what you show as post 21 corpus is the one that we can claim as an exemption under section 11(1)(d). If not, we cannot claim under 11(1)(d). But the advantage is, if not in the first year, second year deposit பண்ணனும்னா அப்ப claim பண்ணலாம். ஆனா எத்தனை வருஷம் claim பண்ணலாம்? 5 years. Not more. Beyond 5 years we cannot claim. That is applicable also for the borrowings. Borrowings also up to 5 years only repayment can be claimed as application. Beyond 5 years you cannot. In other words, 5 years la yaar repay pandra. When an institution borrows huge money, 100 crores, 200 crores, this private universities, they don't repay in 5 years. They take 7th year, 9th year. Unfortunately, they are not eligible to claim the repayments. Sir, I would like to stop here. Request the gathering to see what next. We have the afternoon, and we have also an important one topic, the contribution, particularly the inter-charity. And my respected colleague and our past chairman, C.A. Sudhakar is there, and then C.A. Daniel is there on the FCRA. FCRA is also there in the afternoon. They will be short in the sense what is relevant. For example, when it comes to FCRA, we won't go back to when the FCRA started, what is FCRA, nothing. What happened in the last 3 years? One thing that happened, lot of suspension, lot of cancellation, lot of refusals, which we are all familiar. What next? I think this is a great opportunity for us, not just for us to share, but for you also to bring up your ideas or suggestions so that we can take it forward. And similarly, the contribution between one to the another has become complex and complex. In the past, I remember in the 80s, when you give it to anybody, any other body or any beneficiary, it was 100% accepted as application. When first time when the department questioned, you are giving to another trust instead of you applying, the courts have said, what's wrong in that? A is a charity, B is a charity, and A is giving to B, B is applying. What's the problem? The problem started when certain people, perhaps a minority, started abusing that provision by creating several trusts and committee breach of trust. Transferring, not applying. And that's why today genuine trusts are in serious trouble. Corpus contribution is denied. Accumulation is contribute panna, adu not accepted. If a voluntary contribution is not accepted, only a portion 85%. So these two need quite a bit of your thinking. And if you don't mind, I request C.A. Sudhakar sir and C.A. Daniel, please you check with the manager, MC, and then plan certain time, half an hour. Then we go for the panel. 3 of us will be there, and you are also, we are a small panel, you are a large panel. That's all the difference. And we will discuss that in the afternoon. Thank you so much. And wish you all.